Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This video will all be about limiting beliefs, how to overcome those, resilience, self-discipline, and the role they play in defining your personal success. So if you are someone who is interested in developing those aspects of your character, or someone who is on the journey of self-development and self-improvement, listen up because we will be diving into this right now. I'm Anna Lehman, and I'm a personal performance coach, productivity and resilience trainer. My mission is to help and coach working women and men to shift their mindset from fixed to growth, unlock their potential through developing self-discipline, resilience, and high-performance habits for them to be able to achieve financial success, professional growth, meaningful relationships, and joyful life. In this video, I want to tell you how I coached myself to success as an immigrant in Australia. We will be covering what it took me to be where I am right now, the lessons I learned, and the mistakes I made. Whether you are someone who is about to take on a huge challenge in your life, which might not be immigration as such, but just something big that you have never done before, I'm sure it will be a useful video for you. Please let me know in the comments what is the challenge you're about to take on, as I'm really interested to read your stories. And don't forget to subscribe. Let me tell you my story. It all starts with this girl, who then grows into this girl in high school and starts dreaming about moving overseas when she grows up. But as they say, dream stays a dream until you vocalize it and share it with others. So from the age of 12, I started to talk about it in my English lessons and geography lessons. At one of those, I even mentioned that I might go to Australia one day. This caused a bit of giggling in the classroom because Australia is one of the furthest countries from Ukraine. Neither I nor anyone else had known back then that 15 years later I would be sitting on a plane with my one-way ticket, husband, and one-year-old child moving from Ukraine to Australia permanently. And for you to understand this story, I probably need to give you a bit of context. Even though I grew up in independent Ukraine, it was still a pretty closed country. English was not a very common thing, so me learning English for 12-15 hours per week from the age of 7 in the country where it was practically impossible to find the native speakers back then was weird in itself. The internet was not a common thing in 2000s, in Ukraine too, by the way, and not many people would travel anywhere overseas back then, let alone to Australia. So I'm not judging my classmates for giggling, they had all the reasons. But in 2010, when my husband and I were on a holiday trip to the US, we made a decision that it was time for us to explore this idea further. Yoko Ono once said, "A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality." And in 2014, we were on a plane to Sydney. I will not be taking you through the details of the process we went through during those 4 years in between to get our permanent residency, but if you are interested, please let me know in the comments and I will make a separate video on that. But I will only mention that we both had great jobs in corporate finance and money was not the reason why we were leaving. We wanted to live in a socially and economically safe and secure environment with a small gap between poor and rich. And that was the main reason for us to start acting on our dream. In 10 years we have been here, few things happened. I have changed 5 corporate jobs. My salary increased by 220% from the day I landed my first job. I had another child and took a break for 13 months. I had 2 fitness challenges. I bought property in Sydney. I traveled to 12 countries in between for holidays. I started learning my 5th language. I tutored my older daughter to get into a class for academically gifted children. Got qualified as a life coach and set up my side hustle. But why am I telling you all of this? Because I want you to show that irrespectively of where you come from and what your past is, you can create the future where you live life fully, experience growth in all aspects, and become a better version of yourself every next day. You just need to develop and embrace some strategies and attributes that are important prerequisites of your personal success. And that is how I coach myself through this journey too. So let's have a closer look at those. Number 1, ditch your limiting beliefs. And I will definitely say that this is in fact one of the most important steps. And I know it is easier said than done, but everything starts with your mindset. And if you don't wire it in the way for it to serve you, you will be blocking yourself from growth. You will have self-doubt, you will have fear, you will feel some days like shit because nothing might be working, and that is okay. We all go through that. But what you need to create is that mental shield, is that counterforce to those negative thoughts, because if we start thinking about ourselves like losers, we will start acting like ones. I know it sounds cliche, but you will actually start programming your brain for failure and giving up. Our brain is a muscle and has a very significant power called neuroplasticity. Every time you're solving a new problem in your head, you're building a new habit pattern, New connections are formed in your brain. But if you're thinking wrong thoughts, you're building wrong connections, which will then start pushing you to take wrong actions. My recommendation would be to hire a coach or a mentor if you can before the process or during it. But if you can't afford it, which I couldn't do back then, become a coach to yourself and try these 3 things that will help you to overcome your limiting beliefs. Number 1, every time a limiting belief starts to creep up, ask yourself a question. Is this really true? What evidence do I have to support this? Number 2, what does this thought cost me on a daily basis? The fact that you might be thinking you are not good enough might be stopping you from opting into new opportunities, applying for new jobs, and getting into new challenges, and potentially could cost you thousands and thousands of lost income. And number 3, always think about the language you use to speak to yourself. And I really mean it. You have to reframe it every time. Instead of saying to yourself, every time you get a rejection from the potential employer, and you will get a lot of those, trust me, I failed it again and I will never find it. Reframe it. I had a great chance to practice my interview skills, test my knowledge, and even though I haven't gotten a job yet, I have progressed one step closer to getting one. Because looking for a job is just a numbers game and you have to be patient. But you get my point, right? Talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love. And trust me, it's going to make a huge, huge difference to your confidence. Have a plan and be ready to do hard work. Always have a plan. When I was migrating, I had a plan for the first week, first month, and first quarter. Where I'm going, what I'm doing. From the airport, we drove to the hotel. From the hotel, we drove to rental agencies to try to rent a place, and so on. The same with your finances. In the first week or 2, you need to do an estimate. How many months can you live with no income? Then build your job search strategy based on that. You need to be agile and understand that it might change, but at least you will have a direction. Direction will give you clarity. Clarity will give you calmness and better focus. And that is what you need when you're making big decisions and starting a new challenge. But be prepared to do hard work in accordance to your plan daily, despite the discomfort, despite the adversity and rejection. Consistency is the key. People think it is usually a big thing that defines success, but in reality, it is a myriad of little steps that will get you there. As Tony Robbins once said, it's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives. It's what we do consistently. Overcome the language barrier and get comfortable with uncomfortable. If you're migrating to a country where the main language is not your native one, you have to put yourself out there despite the discomfort, despite the fear. You will only become confident if you get your communication skills up there, if you practice again and again, if you force yourself to talk more. I would intentionally not hang around with people who speak my native language and would only speak my native language at home. I will create the situation when I would just practice English again and again. Stop taking yourself too seriously. This will ease you into the daily habit of using a new language. Try a little trick. The main reason why you're avoiding taking a new language is that you are too concerned whether you will be making mistakes. So make a goal. I want to make at least 10 mistakes per day. This will force you to talk, and the more you talk, the better you will become. Stay and leave on your conditions. When you're taking your first job in a new country, it will probably not be the best possible and well-paid job, but it doesn't matter. You need to treat your first job as an opportunity to get into the market. Preferably, try to stick to your area of expertise and the field you were in before. It will then make it easier for you to climb up the ladder. And that is what I did. I had to go back into the audit, the job I left before, which meant long hours and taking a small step back. But I knew it ticked all the boxes I needed back then. It gave me some local experience, ability to practice my English, and bring some money to the table to buy food. Moreover, the day I went for the interview, I read what was the average salary in Sydney back then, and I asked for no less. I got a job in a few days later. Many people then, due to their limiting beliefs we spoke about here earlier, stay in those first jobs for a very long time, missing out on other opportunities. Thinking, what if I will not get the flexibility I have there? But what if you will? Or what if no one will like me and I will not be successful in a new job? But what if you actually going to be even more successful? Always remember, you have to stay in your job for as long as you're learning or earning, ideally both. If I can't move on or move up, I will move out. I will always speak to my boss and try internal opportunities, but if for some reason they don't see me growing there, I will move out and find a better opportunity. Research shows that people who change jobs are more likely to get higher salary increases, at least 10-15%, whereas if you stay where you are, the average increase for CPI growth would be around 2 or 3%, and that's often maximum you can get there. Do you know the story about the water bottle? The same water bottle will cost different amount of money in supermarket and in the airport. The same water bottle. The only thing that changes is the environment. Sometimes you need to change the environment, aka get a new job, for you to be more valued and start earning more. By changing jobs every 2 years and only staying and living on my conditions, I managed to get to 220% growth in my salary over the course of the last 8-10 years. Stay away from comparison bias. Defining your self-worth based on how you compare to others will not do you well. You don't know their starting point. You don't know the pain other people go through, the sacrifices they're making as they go along, and the price they are paying. My best strategy is to compare myself with myself a week, a month, a year ago. This will give you a sense of pride and achievement because you will see how far you have come along on that journey. I hope you found this video useful, and if yes, please do me a favor, subscribe to my channel as I want to share more practical and inspirational content with you. Whatever challenge you are about to take on, I'm rooting for your success. With care, Anna.